Robby here. So in regards to the first component that we're looking at in terms of the efficient hip rotation mechanics and the continuously sinking of the hips throughout the drive phase, obviously the solutions and the progressions that we can use are always going to vary per athlete, but as instructors, all we can really do is provide certain things that they can play around with to see if it provides some feedback. So something that I've had a lot of success with my clients is getting them into certain dry settings and constraint settings in which they can be aware of the specific movement that we want them to accomplish, right? So when we're referring to the continuously sinking of the hips, we just want to set something up like a slope, right? So we're going to kind of replicate the mound and provide tactile feedback, if you will, like a constraint setting of you can only accomplish the specific movement by doing the efficient movement. So this is something that I just threw together just now to do this video. I just want to get something that, like I said, just provides that sense of feedback for the hips continuously sinking. It could work, could not, but like I said, I've had success with it. There's a couple different modifications you can use, but I have a stick mobility here with a rear foot elevated split squat type thing here. Obviously the stick's being held by that kettlebell. I think it would hold on its own, I don't know, but you can use like say a barbell or just anything that's going to give you like a slope, right? Just kind of replicate a slope. And one modification you can do is, well, I guess you wouldn't want to do this modification, but you want to make sure that the slope, the angle of this slope itself isn't like drastically high, right? And isn't drastically low, right? We want to get as close as possible to the mound, which is, I believe, 1 inch of slope per foot, if I'm not mistaken. But here's what I got is in terms of the continuously sinking of the hips. What you can do is you can start towards the back and you can just put your lead foot on this stick, and you can, like I said, it's more of a dry rep than anything. You just want to get this feeling. I don't like where I'm positioned right here. So you want to get this feeling of this lead foot going down this stick, and you can feel that it's forcing your hips now to sink into your anchor point, right? So if you're somebody that's dealing with the breakdown of a perception of power of elevating that hip and wanting to push, this could be a really good dry rep and a dry progression that you can use to just create that motion memory and those motor patterns of sinking your hips into your anchor point, which we know is going to help aid in your acceleration rate by utilizing the slope, right? We want to authentically accelerate our bodies. We don't want to force acceleration. You see a lot of guys force acceleration or force power by pushing off the back foot, elevating the hips, and getting aggressive with that lead foot into its anchor point and kind of, leaping into anchor point. And we just want efficiency. We want authentic acceleration through efficient hip rotation mechanics, which is abiding by gravity, utilizing the slope to accelerate at a greater rate. And this is something you can do here. There's also a setting you can do that's, I look at it like, the handrails going down stairs, like when you were a kid, what'd you do, right? You put your butt on it and freaking flew down. So I was trying to come up with like a progression that you can kind of feel that, but this isn't going to be high enough. It'd have to be a little bit higher, but you can essentially get a feel for this by putting your, right butt cheek on it, or whatever butt cheek, it depends on what hand you throw with. But if you can get that tactile feedback on your butt and then slide down it, continuously putting, pressure in with your butt. But like I said, this is not going to be high enough for me to do that. Maybe you can set something up for yourself. Even if you have a handrail by you, you can get that feeling of, right? So you get creative. I was even going to use a barbell, like prop a barbell up against something. You know, the thing is it doesn't have to be extremely sturdy, because for me, I'm just doing a movement progression, right? Because you can't really hop right into like throw variations with guys that don't understand the movement of the sinking of the hips. So you gotta highlight that. You gotta put emphasis behind that, so then they can start connecting the brain body there of what that feeling is like. You can also provide some feedback, maybe from like a med ball standpoint. I haven't had as much success with this drill, but like getting the athlete to take that, depending on if he's an ankle eversion or a foot rotation guy, getting him to take the knee, and this is going to be another movement restriction, possibly of hip, internal rotation. So getting this thing to go down into the med ball. So you want to sink the hips and take the knee down into the med ball. So you have some tactile feedback there. What you're not doing is you're not sinking all the way early and then elevating here. All right. So like I said, I haven't had as much success with that. All this is an attempt to create a sense of understanding with that movement pattern that we want of the continuously sinking of the hips to allow us to authentically accelerate into our anchor point. Okay, and we don't want to force that acceleration. I'm seeing a fly right in front of the lens. Hopefully it doesn't ruin the video. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Throw a little cheddar cheese though. First throw of the day, 97. That hurt.